All right, so we left off in the last video talking about domain names and where to purchase them from. Go ahead and just purchase, whatever you're looking for. Remember, you can always change it around later. You can always have a different domain name point back to the same hosting. We'll kind of get into some of that stuff later on, but purchase your domain name. Now, depending on who you purchase that through, there may be some things that they offer as an add-on, like maybe emails or again, it's kind of securing your information so it's not available to the public as far as who registered for that domain name. They may show your information of like your name, your address, maybe your phone number. I don't remember. There is some different information. You may want to lock that down. I think that's like another 10, 15 bucks a month or a year, excuse me. Just depends on who you're going with, but something you may want to look at. But really, for the most part, I don't worry about the upsells. I just go right to the domain name and just purchase that, and I'm all set. Now, when it comes to hosting, that's a little bit different of a ballgame. Now, that may run a different price depending on who you go to. There are a lot of great hosts. I'm going to show you a couple, and I'm going to show you what to watch out for. So this is where things kind of start to get a little bit, where you want to really pay attention to and put a little bit of thought into. Maybe not go for the cheapest one, because the cheaper, sometimes the more kind of issues you're going to have. So for the most part, there are two different types of hosting. There's shared hosting, which is where you are on a server with possibly hundreds of other websites. You are sharing that server with them. That means that if one of the websites gets hacked, there is a slim chance that your website could get hacked as well, even though they're not on the same domain name. They are on the same server, so there is potential. More of a concern, personally, is the speed of the server. Remember, a server is just a computer, any kind of computer where it has a processor, it has RAM, and it has hard drive space. So they're going to fill up that hard drive, and all those websites are still just like a program on your desktop. They are competing for the RAM and the processor speed on your website, on your computer. So your website may slow down if another website on that server is using a lot of RAM or a lot of processor speed. Just depends what's going on. So maybe there's a ton of videos that another website uploaded on the server, and a ton of people are all of a sudden watching those videos on that other website. Again, even though it has nothing to do with your website, yours may slow down a little bit because all those videos are taking up the RAM and the processor speed of the server. So kind of think about that. I'm going to show you what those are here in a second. One other thing that there are a couple options for is the type of server that you're going on. Now, there are typically, for the most part, two options: Windows servers and Linux servers. Personally, 99 times out of 100, I use a Linux server. WordPress runs just fine on a Windows server as well, but I just find the software that runs on a Linux server is a little bit more robust. I like it a little bit better. You may get different opinions from different people who are more into Windows servers. I think they may be a little bit more secure. Some other options there, just maybe look into it, but for the most part, I stick with a Linux server, and I'm going to show you that as we get into this. Now, a lot of hosts, they offer different types of hosting. So you're going to see that there is hosting up here, which we can take a look at. And you can see they offer web shared hosting, then virtual private server. So this is where you get a portion of a server, and you get that certain amount of RAM and processor speed allocated to any website that you put on that server. And then there's a dedicated server where you get the entire server to yourself, all the RAM, all the processor speed. You get a ton of room, and your site is going to be lightning fast for the most part, but you're definitely going to pay the price for that. So you've got web hosting, and this is all of your basic shared hosting accounts. So $249 a month, all the way up to $20 a month. These are for all the different, just the amount of space is basically the difference that you're getting, the amount of space on that server that you're getting. A managed WordPress site. So this is a little bit different. A lot of hosts are starting to come out with a server specifically for WordPress. They will offer some kind of a nice things. So for the most part, I have been going more with these managed WordPress websites. You can see they're just a little bit more per month, but definitely worth it because usually they run a little bit faster. And then the other two options we looked at up there were the VPS, the virtual private server. You're getting that portion of a server all dedicated to you, and you can run a bunch of websites on here. So for about 18 bucks a month compared to 4 bucks a month, if you're ever going to host 4, 5, 6 websites, yeah, I would definitely get the VPS. It's such a great option. I have actually, I think, 3 VPS accounts. Definitely a great way to run a website. And if you really know what you're doing and you really need a ton of speed and a ton of room on a server, $70 a month, you can get a fully dedicated server. Great options there. GoDaddy, again, if you're going to go up to the VPS or maybe the WordPress, I would say you're probably fine sticking with them. I'm not a huge fan of them as a host. I do like their domain names. We did see that Namecheap is offering hosting. You can see they have the same kind of thing where they've got shared hosting plans, very similar in price here. WordPress hosting, $1 a month. Wow, what a great deal. See, a lot of these you got to watch out for because then they renew after a year for a little bit higher per month, but you can see that that was still the same price that GoDaddy was offering. I think theirs were $3.99 as opposed to $3.88. Ooh, 11 cents. I can save. Another host I really like is InMotion. Again, same kind of options. They get the VPS, the dedicated, different types of business hosting, shared hosting, kind of the same thing right there. A little bit more per month, but they're also a very good company, really good tech support. I really like them. I have a VPS with them. They do have WordPress hosting. I have that with them as well. They have a couple different packages here. And again, you can see they're a little bit more expensive, but you're actually getting a lot more with it. This one comes with a free domain name. So maybe that's something you want to look at. You can get a free, kind of roll it all into there. You can get a ton of SSD storage. That's great. That stands for solid state drive, which is a very fast hard drive. It's more like RAM. It's definitely something you want to look for when you get into WordPress websites. Another site that I really like, and I forgot to pull it up here, is SiteGround.com. Again, a little bit more expensive, but they are a great hosting company. You can see that these start at $3.95 a month, but they kind of renew at $11.95 a month. They have a lot of great options in there. They have things that'll speed up your website. They have things that'll look for malware and viruses on a regular basis. So this is something to maybe consider. I do host with them as well. I really like SiteGround a lot. So really any of those options I would stick with. You start to get into some other random websites that offer free hosting or $1 a month hosting, you're going to get what you pay for. So just be careful. If you don't want to spend a lot, maybe stick with GoDaddy in the beginning. You can always move stuff around later on. But personally, I would say either SiteGround or InMotion would be where I would start. So in the next video, we're going to talk about actually, after you've purchased all this stuff, what to do next.